he rushed outside only to find the parking lot empty. No clerk, no cars, no road. Motel was the only thing left in a gray and endless void. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize from the outside, the motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again for him. But this time, it wasn't anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe for free. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The knocking in the closet was stopped at dawn. Outside only to find the parking lot empty. No clerk, no cars, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, he ran the highway only to realize terrifying. From the outside, the motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, his room key wasn't 6 part 3. He didn't sleep that night. From the closet went on for an hour. He rushed outside only to parking lot empty. No clerk, no car, no road. The motel's the only thing left in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, highway only to realize from the motel was gone. The building's there again, waiting for him. But this time, his room it wasn't 6 more. It was room 9. Subscribe for 3. Motel sleep that night. From the closet in hours. Then stopped. At dawn, he rushed outside only to find the parking lot empty. No clerk. No car. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. Racing, he ran to the highway, realized something terrifying. From the outside, the motel was on, and when he turned back, the building again waiting for. But this time, his room changed. It's 6 anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe. So do you sleep at night? Knocking from the cloud hours, then stopped at dawn. He was outside. No clerk, no cars, no road. Heart racing. He ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. Outside, the motel's gone, and when he turned back, but this time his room key had changed. It wasn't 6 anymore. It's 9. For the Vanishing Motel episode 2, he didn't sleep that night. It went on for hours. Then stopped. At dawn, he rushed outside to find the parking lot empty. No clerk, no cars, no road, standing in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, he turned back, waiting for him. But this time, it wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. 5, 3. Cars. No. He rushed down the road. The motel was the only thing left standing, gray, endless void, only to realize something terrifying. But the building stood there again, waiting for him. Subscribe for part The Vanishing Motel. He didn't sleep that night. Episode 2. The knocking from the closet went on for hours. Then stopped. No clerk. No cars. No cars. No road. The motel was the only thing left standing. He ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, the motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, the Vanishing Motel. The knocking from the closet went on for hours. Then stopped. He rushed outside only to find the parking lot empty. Clerk. No car, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. He ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, the motel was, and the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, waiting for him. His room key had this time changed. His room key wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The knocking from the closet went on for hours. From the closet went on for hours. Then stopped. At dawn, he rushed outside only to find the parking lot. No clerk, no cars, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing. Heart racing from the outside. The motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, it wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe for part 3. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The knocking from the hours. Then stopped. At dawn, he rushed out to find the parking lot empty. No clerk, no cars, no road. The motel was the only thing left. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, the motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this key had changed. It wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe for part 3. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The knocking from the closet went on for hours. Then stopped. He rushed outside only to find the parking lot empty. No clerk, no cars, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. Racing, he ran to the highway only to realize from the motel from the outside. When he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, his room key had changed. It wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. The Vanishing Tell episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The knocking from the closet went on for hours. Then stopped. At dawn, He rushed outside only to find the parking empty. No clerk, no cars, no roads. The motel was the only left standing in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, the motel was gone. And when he turned back, again, waiting for him. But this time, his room key had changed. It wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe for part 3. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. The closet went for hours. Then stopped. At dawn, he rushed outside only to find no clerk, no cars, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. The motel was gone. And when he turned back, the building stood there again, waiting for him. But this time, his room key had changed. It wasn't 6 anymore. It was room 9. Subscribe for part 3. The Vanishing Motel episode 2. He didn't sleep that night. Closet went on for hours. Then stopped. He rushed outside only to find the parking empty. No clerk, no road. The motel was the only thing left standing in a gray, endless void. Heart racing, he ran to the highway only to realize something terrifying. From the outside, and when he turned back, building stood there again, waiting for him. But the Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled the highway. Hammered his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel was empty, except for the clerk who slid him without saying a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness, the light bust, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. Deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it came from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode. A traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. Spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. Who slid him key without saying a word. Room 6. The wall with dampness. The lights bust, but he was tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. Emptiness. The lights buzzed, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. Another deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. Hotel lobby was empty, except the clerk slid him a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness, the lights buzzed, but he was tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it, a knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there. But the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel Episode 1. Traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty. Clerk slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The wall dripped with dampness. The lights buzzed, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed till he heard it, a knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he's there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for 2. The Vanishing Motel 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rainstorm. He spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The wall with dust, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto till he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. No one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel Episode past midnight his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. Empty, except for the clerk who slid key without saying a word. 6. The walls dripped with dampness, the lights buzzed, but he's too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it, a knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. He opened it. No one was there, but the stopped. Now, was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel Episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness, the lights buzzed, but he was too he collapsed on bed until he heard it, a knock at the door. Deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel Episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm sign. Vacancy. The hotel was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. Dripped with dampness, the lights buzzed. He was too tired to care. He collapsed to the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't was coming from inside the closet. The Vanishing Motel Episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Windshield, and the storm had a flickering neon sign. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. The walls dripped with dampness, the lights buzzed, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed on bed until he heard it, a knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Motel Episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. The storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. The hotel lobby was empty. The clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed until he heard it, a knock at the door. slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now it's coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was midnight when a traveler pulled off the rain, hammered his windshield, entered the store. He spotted a ring vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except a key without saying a word. Room 6. Walls dripped with damp. The lights buzzed care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. Another door. Slow. When he opened it, no one was there. But the sound stopped. Now, coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1 was past midnight when a traveler pulled up. Rain hammered his shield, and through the storm, a flickering neon sign. The motel was empty, except for the clerk who slid him without saying a word. Room 6. The walls with dampness. Lost buzzed. But he was too tired to care. He collapsed on it until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming. Is it? Part 2. The Vanishing episode. Travel pulled off the highway. Rain entered the. He spotted a flicker on sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The lights. With your care, he collapsed on the bed. And he heard it. Oh, deliberate. When he opened, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it's coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1 lasted night when traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. Through storm, he spotted a ring on sign. Vacancy. Motel lobby empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Walls dripped with dampness. The lights, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. Stopped. Now, it was coming from his closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing episode 1 was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield and spotted a flickering neon sign. The motel lobby was empty, except for the slid him a key without a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with gas. The lights buzzed. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. When he opened it, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part. The Vanishing Motel midnight pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. He spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. Walls dripped with dampness. Lights buzzed. Too tired to care. He collapsed on. He heard it. A knock. When he opened it, no one was down. Hadn't stopped. Now, it's a closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1. Last midnight when a traveler pulled rain hammered his windshield. Through the storm, he spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacant. Lobby was empty. A word. Room 6. The walls dripped with buzzed, but too tired to care. He collapsed on the bed until a knock at the deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound had stopped. Now, it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. Tell episode 1. It was night when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. And through the storm, he spotted a flickering vacancy. The motel was empty, except for saying a word. He went onto the bed until it hit a knock at the door. The sound hadn't stopped. Now it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1 midnight. A traveler pulled highway. Rain hammered his windshield. Storm. He spotted a flickering neon sign. The motel lobby was empty. Who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. Dripped with dampness. The lights buzzed tired hair. He lapsed onto at the door. Slow. That no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield. And through the storm he spotted a flickering neon sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Rooms. The walls dripped with dampness. The lights to care. He collapsed to the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. Deliberate. When he opened, no one was there, but the sound stopped. Now the vanishing when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering sign. Vacancy. The motel lobby was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness. The lights buzzed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slid. He opened the hatch. Now it was coming from the closet. Subscribe for part. The Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled his windshield, and through the storm he spotted vacancy. The motel empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying a word. Room 6. Walls dripped, lights buzzed, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. And it. No one was there, but the sound. Now it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. The Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past midnight when a traveler pulled off the highway. Rain hammered his windshield, and through the storm he spotted a flickering neon vacancy. Except for the clerk who slid a word. Room 6. The walls dripped with dampness. The lights buzzed, but he was too tired to care. He collapsed onto the bed until he heard it. A knock at the door. Slow. Deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now it was coming from inside the closet. Subscribe for part 2. Vanishing Motel episode 1. It was past night when a traveler pulled off the highway. His windshield, and through the storm he spotted a vacancy. The motel was empty, except for the clerk who slid him a key without saying room. He was too tired to care. He heard at the door. Slow, deliberate. When he opened it, no one was there, but the sound hadn't stopped. Now, part 2. The Vanishing Motel. And last minute. Okay. Rain had line. Daisy. There was empty, except for the crucifix within a word. Room 6. Dripped with damp